okay.
Mom, I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy. Will you check under the bed and make sure there's no Disney executives under there?
I promise there's not.
I'm scared, Mom. Will you please just look at me?
Disney's Snow White, a modernized fairy tale or the loss of timeless magic? Get ready to dive into the storm of controversy.
Rachel Zegler has been described as a walking PR disaster for
Live-action adaptation of this cherished classic has sparked a fierce debate, pitting the warmth of nostalgia against the promise of progress, igniting conversations across the internet and leaving audiences deeply divided.
That it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
She's
is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true.
Casting decisions that ignited backlash to bold story changes that left devoted fans in shock, the Snow White remake has turned into a cultural flashpoint. Is Disney genuinely striving to update a timeless classic for today's audience? Or are they carelessly reshaping a treasured piece of cinematic heritage? Join us as we delve into the core of this heated debate, unpacking the fervent opinions, unexpected turns, and pressing questions about the future of fairy tales in an era shaped by woke culture.
I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney.
The 1937 Snow White was a revolutionary masterpiece, Disney's first ever feature-length animated film, a timeless tale of an exiled princess saved by 7 dwarves and awakened by true love's kiss. It enchanted audiences around the globe, but the upcoming remake has conjured a very different kind of magic, controversy.
The prince.
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie.
Right.
Andrew Burnap, great dude.
Early revelations about the project unveiled some bold creative choices, including the introduction of magical creatures in place of the dwarves and a diminished focus on the prince's role. Fan reactions were quick and often critical, with many questioning why such a beloved classic needed such dramatic changes. The real uproar began when Rachel Zegler was announced as the first Latina Snow White. While this groundbreaking casting decision was celebrated by some as a significant step toward greater inclusivity, it also triggered a different kind of controversy. In numerous interviews, Zegler did not hold back from sharing her candid thoughts on the original film. She openly criticized its outdated portrayal of women, particularly Snow White, whom she described as passive and overly dependent on a prince for salvation. Zegler strongly advocated for a reimagined version, focusing less on romance and more on an empowered, independent Snow White. However, these outspoken remarks, intended to reflect a modern perspective, inadvertently fueled a wave of backlash, sparking heated debates across social media.
more concerned about Disney's new Snow White remake, mostly because of what the lead actress has been saying.
Many felt that Zegler, as the chosen actress to portray such an iconic character, should approach the role with greater reverence for the original material. Critics contended that her dismissive remarks about the classic film, a cherished favorite of millions, came across as both ungrateful and disrespectful. Accusations of arrogance and a lack of appreciation for the legacy she was stepping into quickly gained momentum online. Caught in the crossfire, Zegler found herself at the center of a polarizing debate, with every word she uttered being dissected and criticized. Social media turned into a virtual battlefield, where hashtags calling for boycotts clashed with others praising the push for inclusivity. Every leaked detail and every statement from the cast sparked new waves of heated discussion. Critics accused Disney of prioritizing woke messaging over genuine storytelling, while supporters defended the changes as essential steps toward crafting a more modern and inclusive fairy tale. The controversy reached a fever pitch, drawing in casual observers and turning the remake into a cultural flashpoint.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
What began as a debate over Rachel Zegler's comments quickly spiraled into a full-scale online war. Social media platforms turned into echo chambers for opposing viewpoints, with hashtags like #BoycottSnowWhite and #SupportRachel Zegler trending endlessly. Timelines were inundated with passionate arguments, as proponents of change championed Disney's efforts to modernize the classic tale. They praised inclusivity and representation as essential, lauding Zegler's candidness and her bold stance against outdated narratives. Conversely, defenders of the original film vehemently disagreed. They accused Disney of needlessly altering a beloved classic, arguing that the studio was prioritizing political correctness at the expense of authentic storytelling. Critics alleged that Disney was pandering to a small but vocal minority while alienating its loyal fanbase. The controversy extended beyond discussions of race and gender, touching on a broader cultural unease about the erosion of tradition and the perceived dominance of a woke agenda. Leaked plot details only intensified the outrage. News that the dwarves would be replaced by a diverse group of magical creatures sparked further backlash. Detractors saw this as a transparent attempt to cater to progressive ideals, arguing that the original dwarves, with their distinct personalities and humor, were a vital part of the story's charm. Adding to the uproar were rumors that the prince's role would be significantly diminished. This fueled the perception that Disney was prioritizing social messaging over preserving the integrity of the original tale. As the discourse grew increasingly polarized, both sides dug in their heels, unwilling to find common ground, leaving the debate as heated and divisive as ever.
Is that supposed to be Cartman? It ain't Cartman, but it's still fat. Just more like Little Round and fat. Yeah, like Tammy Mullen's knocker.
Then came the South Park episode, notorious for its sharp satire and controversial takes on current events. This time the show turned its attention to Disney's so-called woke agenda, with the Snow White remake taking center stage. The episode, packed with biting humor and outrageous scenarios, mercilessly mocked Disney's attempts to modernize beloved classics. From race-swapping characters to gender-bending roles, South Park skewered these efforts as shallow and performative, rather than genuine strides toward inclusivity. The episode struck a chord with viewers far beyond South Park's typical audience. It gave voice to growing frustration among those who felt Disney was prioritizing political correctness at the expense of artistic integrity. The exaggerated portrayal of the Snow White remake resonated with critics who believed the studio had lost sight of the magic and wonder that once defined its storytelling. The cultural impact of the South Park episode was unmistakable. It didn't just entertain, it acted as a reflection of widespread discontent. Even those who found the show's often offensive humor unpalatable couldn't deny that it had captured a prevailing sentiment. In its irreverent way, the episode brought the simmering tension surrounding the Snow White remake to a boiling point, forcing Disney to confront the mounting criticism head-on.
Critics saying Disney's too woke, but you're just putting out storytelling.
We are. Look, I don't really like the term woke because I think it's an umbrella term that I'm not 100% sure I even know what it means. And one could argue that sometimes it's used too liberally. That said, our primary purpose is to entertain.
What began as a typical remake has evolved into a profound debate about storytelling, nostalgia, and the future of Disney itself. Will Snow White emerge as a triumph of modern reimagination? Or will it serve as a cautionary tale about the risks of altering beloved classics? The answer may not only lie in box office results, but also in the lasting impact this controversy has on the future of fairy tales. The Snow White debate has become a turning point for Disney, forcing the studio to face some fundamental questions about its identity and its relationship with its audience. Is Disney's mission simply to entertain, or does it also carry a responsibility to reflect and shape our evolving cultural landscape? Can the studio champion inclusivity and progress while still honoring the magic and nostalgia that have captivated generations of fans? The answers to these questions will shape the future of Disney storytelling. If the Snow White remake is a box office success despite the controversy, it could encourage the studio to continue embracing its revisionist approach, pushing the boundaries of storytelling and challenging traditional narratives. However, if the film underperforms, it may signal the need for a course correction. Disney might be prompted to reassess its remake strategy, perhaps focusing on more faithful adaptations that respect the essence of the original stories. This could involve a more balanced approach to modernization, one that integrates contemporary values while preserving the spirit and charm of the classics. Regardless of how the film fares, the Snow White controversy has sparked a much-needed conversation about the role of nostalgia, the power of tradition, and the shifting relationship between storytellers and their audiences. It has challenged Disney to rethink its creative process, consider the impact of its choices on its fanbase, and ultimately determine the best path forward for a company that has inspired and entertained generations. The Snow White remake has ignited a firestorm, proving that fairy tales still have the power to reflect and shape our society. Whether or not you agree with Disney's approach, one thing is certain: this controversy has sparked an essential conversation about the balance between progress and tradition, the influence of nostalgia, and the future of storytelling. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more captivating content.